I got a announcement. I'm going to do this one. I could do it now. I could do it now. Now I'm going to do it for tomorrow. I'm going to do it for tomorrow. On who wins the World Cup first, us, the U.S., or England. That was absolutely an amazing display by Lionel Messi today. He was magic. He was all the things, and he willed the team, and they did everything to get across the line. They're amazing, too. They're not just a singular player, but Messi obviously is something wholly different that it's a different world with him. And there's something about certain players, big games, gets up for it, seizes the moment. It is incredible. And it was an amazing game, if you're English, for the first 80 minutes. And then somewhere along the line, you forgot that there was another side of the field. And you decided the best that you could do was to half-ass defend. I mean, I don't. Watching the game today was amazing. It was enthralling. It was all of the things. This World Cup has been all of the things. But that was a shit show when it came to defense. It was when we were kids. Even when I got to the point where I was playing on a professional basis, it was offense versus defense. The offense would try to score. We'd get the ball, knock it downfield. They'd come back at us. It was sad. You saw it when it was 1-0. At some point in time, there was hitting the post. There was saves. There was all the stuff. It wasn't if, but when. And then you thought, okay, now what? By then, the momentum was so massive, and it was all going downhill, and England could do nothing about it. And then this happened. And can we just say, I love John Strong. Fox, I think he's done a hell of a job. But Andres Cantor, can we?
De Leo con la derecha. Por aquí no. Por allá.
I could listen to Andres Cantor. You hear the love in the voice, the whole 9 yards. What the hell were you doing? You brought Thomas Tuchel in for this moment. Grit. Get through it. Not just get through it, but go out and try to win the game. And you went back into a shell and you played the last 20-some minutes. It was downhill the entire time. It wasn't if, but when. They could have played for another 4 hours, and I don't think England would have ever seen a sight of goal. Even in those last 3 minutes, you knew they were not going to get anywhere when they were tossing everything forward. You did it to yourself. It is that simple. You did it to yourself. You had opportunities. And I was telling my son, who's kind of gotten into the World Cup, and, he plays hockey and golf, and he knows that I play. I never once pushed him to play soccer. I said, Jack, he said, Dad, what happened? I said, you ever watch football? He goes, all the time with you. I said, and prevent defense. Does it actually prevent shit? No, it doesn't. It never, ever, ever, ever prevents anything from happening outside of the other team going down and either kicking a game-winning or game-tying field goal. And that's what happened here. Good on you. You could sense it absolutely that it was coming. And England, you had every opportunity to, come on home. It's coming. Not this time tonight. Another fail. And that, to me, was, you did that to you. You did that to you. You just went and you went back into a shell. You played prevent defense, and that was it. That was it. You had guys who were exhausted, and rather than bringing guys who were like, let's bring Rashford and let's bring all the guys in, let's get them up, let's get this game back, let's tilt the field, let's get them going forward, let's try to get this thing back. Let's push them. Let's make our offense that defense. And instead, and alas, here you are. And that is that. And you guys play the third place game against France, and we'll get to see reserves from both of them, I'm sure, come Saturday, and then Sunday, and I'll break it down for us over the next, day or two. Argentina versus, Messi, the great versus the latest great, a kid who's following in the same path that Messi did in Lamine Yamal, and what that is going to be like. One exiting the spotlight as the greatest of all time, and one coming in to potentially pick up that mantle and see where he can take it. And that is going to be awesome. And that is Sunday in New York at whatever the hell the stadium's called for the World Cup. Is it New York Stadium in New Jersey or something? I have no idea what it's called. Meanwhile, we'll jump from there to the Iran stuff just for a little while. And then, can I just say, I do this for a living. It's politics, my pop culture life. Soccer. I mean, this is my jam. I can talk soccer all day long. It's my thing. I was fortunate enough to go play in Europe, do all that stuff. But politics is, it's a lot of what I do. And my frustration level with what is going on in our world right now is through the roof. And Trump's out there again today doing what he does, which is, it's over. We've won. They're giving up. It's the greatest. We've never been greater. It's never been better than it is now. We've won the whole thing. They've given up. They've surrendered. Everything's going great. We've won, but we haven't won. But if we could win, it's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what you get in that situation. And oil up. Nobody really knows what is going to happen from day to day. I'm assuming we'll probably have some sort of attack later on, potentially tonight, maybe something overnight, our time. And it is going to be tit for tat for the next several weeks. As we get to Labor Day, it'll slow down and then it'll pick up again between, I would say, the second week of September through for about a month. And then as we get closer to election midterms, I'm sure it'll slow down again. But it's not solving the issue. We're not going to bomb them into friendship. We're not going to bomb them into regime change. We're going to do none of those things. We have got ourselves in a position that we shouldn't be in. And we are going to see higher prices, steadily higher prices. Nothing outrageous outside of something chaotic happening. I don't think we're going to see anything outrageous. What we're going to see is just a slow climb. And our money is going to slowly erode. Inflation is going to slowly tick up, and then we're going to be always trying to chase the tail to get even. And that is not something I think most people are interested in. I know for most of you out there that I talk to on a daily basis, it's not something you want to be a part of. And there is a battle going on inside of the Republican Party when it comes to MAGA, in particular the boomers, and a younger generation who did not sign up for this, who do not want this, and are sick and tired of the BS and lies. And I totally get that. I do. I don't think this thing's going to end anytime soon. We're talking to our military analyst, Mike Lyons, yesterday, best damn military analyst in the business. And I said, what ends first, Ukraine or this? And he said, both of these things, we're going to get through the end of the year with these things. That is not simple and quick. That is not 6 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever bullshit we were told. That is a continuation of another long, drawn-out skirmish, kerfuffle, whatever the hell you want to call it. And we should all be pissed about it. We should. And when I hear people say, you don't understand, right? It needed to be done because 47, I don't want to hear about the 47 years ago. I don't want to hear about any of that shit. Nobody goes to bed at night and thinks, oh my God, is the RGC under? Hold on, I got to see. They're not there. Nobody does. Nobody's doing any of that. Nobody is. We need to get shit done here. You want to know why young people are pissed and angry? You want to know why they're looking around going, what do we have for us? We're coming out of college with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Thought that we were coming into this amazing, world of opportunity. Instead, we've got AI gobbling up jobs and opportunities. You've got the wealthy getting even wealthier and telling everybody, you should just do it too. It's super simple and easy. You've got the older generation who are looking around going, you guys should have babies. You guys should do what we did. Sorry, you bought your house for a gooseberry and it's now worth $4 million. And I'd have to work 6 years just to get a down payment. Oh, we did the same thing. You didn't. It is not the same. and they're frustrated and they're pissed, and you're wondering why there's socialism. Is that coming? You know why it's an appeal to them? Because they're looking around going, what else are they going to do? They're going to work harder. It's not working like that. They're frustrated. They're pissed. They're angry. And when you have a young group of people who are pissed and angry, saying, listen to what we have to say. What can we do to right some of this ship? It's not about, and look, I'm hard at times on the ridiculousness of Gen Z and you know, the millennials at times can be ridiculous. What generation hasn't been? They didn't raise themselves, and they were sold a bill of goods, and now they're looking around and going, well, what's going to change? What can we do? You want to know why they're looking at something like socialism? And let's get it right, too. Socialism, communism, it's not the same. It's not. They look over and say, why is everybody happy in Sweden, in Finland, in Denmark, in you know, the Scandinavian nations? Well, it's not because they're communists. They're not communists. Nowhere near that. They're capitalist free market society. They have higher taxes and a safety net. They value well-being over profits. And if you're 23 and you're $100,000 in debt, and you're still living at home with your mom, sounds like a good deal. It does. And what people aren't paying attention to is that voting block is getting way bigger than the older voting block. They're looking at this president going, oh, wow. So she made $5.5, $6 million a day since you've been president this time? That's interesting. Yeah. It's going to be better. You don't know. It's the greatest time in our history. It's never been greater. The streets are gilded in gold. It's gold gilt. It's never better. You know, they're not buying it. They're not. They wanted what they thought they were going to get. And what we need to give them is honesty, which is, look, it's going to be a little tougher. You're going to have a massive amount of wealth when mom and pop kick the can and say, but that isn't happening today. And maybe they can help you a little bit, but you're going to have to pull up your bootstraps and you're going to have to figure this out. But yeah, you have every right to be a little bit pissed, but it will get better, but it ain't going to be easy. And the things that you were promised, they may not be there. So now what? Pivot. But to think that when you look out in society today and think that these young people, and I talk to a lot of them, they're pissed. They're pissed. They're angry. They're broke AF. They want something else that isn't broken ass promises and debt. I get it. And they don't want a bunch of, 70 somethings telling them to just nut it up, buttercup. We did it. Not the same. It isn't. You can draw some parallels price-wise and the cost of certain things, but there's a lot you can't. There is a lot you can't. It is a different time. And so I understand why they're pissed and angry. But when you have a pissed and angry young society and you don't do the things you need to do to try to get through to them and actually follow through on some of those things, you could say, it's great, it's wonderful, it's all of the things. Guess what you're going to get out of that? You're going to get a fuck you at the ballot. And when you go to the young and they get pissed and angry because they feel they have nothing, that's when crazy ass revolutions start. We don't need that. We don't. We just need to get our heads out of our ass, start thinking with common sense, thinking maybe, hey, we're going to have to look at some things a little bit differently here and approach things like that. But unfortunately, we live in a time when it is all about crisis and selfishness, algorithms and anger. And that sucks, no doubt. All right, you guys have a good night. Tomorrow, live on the radio, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific, 9 to noon on the East Coast. Go to ChatBensonShow.com or thechatshow.com and check out We're Playing. Like, subscribe. Appreciate it when you guys do that because it really helps me out here as we're trying to grow this thing and It's kind of a one-man band, just doing it ourselves every single day. But if you could like and subscribe, that would really help me out. And feel free to contact us directly, 323-538-CHAD, 323-538-2423. That is direct text line. You guys have a blessed and amazing night, and we will be back here tomorrow night, talk about a few things, including something very interesting that we're trying to get on the show about leaving MAGA. And it's very interesting